Hello, this is a website audit for a page for Tracy Walton, and it's the website bookskidslove.co.uk, and this is a distributor for Usborne Books. Now, I'm not quite sure where to start with this because I'm not entirely sure how much control a distributor has over the content of the page here. So anything that I say may not be relevant simply because it's not possible for you to add those things to the page. And in terms of other kind of backlinks and things like that, again, you might not be able to maximize the value of those backlinks if you're not able to put certain things on the page in the code, or certain things might be blocked from the website itself. So just kind of starting off with what we have got. There's no reason why this page shouldn't rank in Google, because looking here, it's indexed in Google. These are all the pages that are indexed, which is good. So there's no reason why you couldn't get those pages ranking for the keywords that you want to be found. The only issue with that is, of course, selling books is a very competitive area, and obviously you've got great competition with online bookstores like Amazon, and even the other high street chains have got online shops that you would be competing against. But having said that, I don't know whether or not your business model is based around selling online, or whether it's the face-to-face sales with the book parties and school events and things like that. And equally, I don't know whether or not a priority of your business is building your team and helping your organisers in your team to sell books. So I know sometimes from a shop online in this situation, it might just be that there's an opportunity to sell rather than that's your preferred sales pipeline, as it were. So it's difficult for me to say whether or not we should be driving traffic to the online shop. All I can say though is obviously that would be very hard because it's very competitive, and the margins on books aren't that great. So it may well be that that's not a viable option. It might be more viable to try and target some of these other events via the web. Having said that, the basis of getting ranked is to have lots of content, and there's very little content here that Google can use to work with to rank. So, and especially if you're wanting to rank locally as a local bookseller, then there's an opportunity to add your location in here. I don't know how restricted you are as to what content you can add and what sorts of content you can use. I know sometimes the Direct Selling Association and various networks within that have fairly strict guidelines as to what you can and can't do online. So you might be restricted by what you can put in here. But if you are able to add content, I would put as much content as you can. A good 1,000 words, really going into who you are, where you're working, talking about the books and all that kind of thing, could be really useful to help you rank on this. From a technical point of view, I can see that you've got the page title is bookskidslove.co.uk, which is kind of the brand name there, but in terms of buying intent, that doesn't really drive much traffic in terms of a search phrase. If you're looking to sell books, it might be better to look at targeting buyer keywords. Meta description, again, there's something here which is good. Whether or not this is really your opportunity to create a little ad for yourself within the search results. So this, although it doesn't directly affect any rankings in Google, it does affect the click-through rate, because people will read this, and if they don't feel compelled to click, then that will have a negative knock-on effect to your website, because one of the biggest ranking factors at the moment going forward is click-through rate or user engagement. So if people aren't clicking through to your site, if you've got no traffic, then Google's going to not rank you as highly, perhaps as a traffic that gets more as a site that gets more traffic. So I would think about, if you can, changing this to make it a really compelling advert, really looking at extolling the virtues and the benefits of why people should buy your books and so on. Meta keywords, if this was a website that I could do anything with, I would take these out. They're not used by Google at all. H1, again, we've got here books kids love, and that's probably being picked up here, so you may not be able to change that. But again, an H1, is about theming the page with for your keywords, and again, you would really want to put some kind of buyer intent in there. H2s, again, they're kind of selling, this is giving mixed signals to Google. If you're looking as your H2 as being a variation of a semantic variation of your H1, then it's kind of giving out mixed signals. Your name and your position is probably fairly close, but certainly news and blogs and newsletters and winning prizes, they just serve to confuse Google as to what this page is actually about. Using bold, that's good. Again, it's sending mixed signals. You've got books, you've got offers, discounts, that's all good, free delivery, and then you've got business opportunities, and that is, I know it's difficult when you're looking in direct selling and you're looking at building a network or an organisation, but trying to do too many things on one page can dilute the message. And having alt texts on the images, that's good. So from that point of view, some of the majority of things that you want there are there. Whether or not they're using the right targeted keywords is another matter. So, and then again, how much choice you have over the control of these, again, is something that we'd need to look into. Page speed load, just under 2 seconds, that's good, no problems with that. Markup, this is where you get an opportunity to put in your schema, which is where you can put some code on the page, either microdata, which can be seen on the page, or something like JSON script, which can't be seen but Google can read. There's none of that on here. Whether or not, as I say, same old thing, whether or not you could actually add, if you've got an area where you could add some code to the header, then you could feasibly put some markup in there. And status page is loading okay. So that's all good. Googling for your name and Usborne Books, you've got this Google My Business page here. I'm guessing this is one that you've claimed. You've got photos in there. I would fill it out with photos, as many as you can. And importantly, if you can get some reviews, then that would really help you to rank locally for books, book sales, that kind of thing, bookstore. So if you can, if you haven't claimed this, and it looks like you have, then I would make sure that I would start collecting some reviews to really push up the authority of this Google My Business listing. You've got lots of other social profiles and some of the citations, you've got things like Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, Yell. You've got other mentions on popular blogs. So that's all good stuff. So you can look at these. Pinterest here. You've got a link here to your back to your web page, so that's good. A link from Pinterest is worth quite a lot. It's probably a good opportunity if you're really driving traffic from Pinterest. Pinterest is one of the most visual and popular sites for particularly a demographic of women who have money and like to spend things. So feasibly, Pinterest could be a good marketing opportunity for you, and you could really build out this in a really good way. There are tools that you can use to increase your following, so you can do that once you start regularly posting good quality content that isn't just buy my book type stuff. Then you start getting some followers, then you can start approaching other groups in Pinterest and contribute pins to their boards, and you can really start driving some traffic to that. It is a bit tedious. One of the best ways to build a following on Pinterest is literally to look for your search for people who are interested in your sort of stuff, and for kids' books, that can be anything from kids to parenting to books to leisure time activities to all sorts of things, and simply follow them and give it a couple of days. If they don't follow you back, then unfollow them, so that you keep your follower and following ratios pretty close together. And there are ways of automating the process of follow and unfollow. If you wanted to go down that route, I could help you with that, but failing that, it's just a case of going through manually, finding people that are in your niche and then following them, waiting to see if they follow you back. If they don't, then unfollow them and move on to the next ones. And if you found 50 a day, you'd probably find that you'd get 5 to 10 followers, and build that up, do that for 2 or 3 months, and you could find you've got 500 followers before very long, and that will start putting you in good stead, together with continuing to post lots of good pins, approaching other boards that have got thousands and thousands of followers in there, and that can really help to drive traffic to your page. So Pinterest is always worth looking at. Citations, you've got Yale here. There are a few other ones that you could probably go into if you haven't already. They just might not be in the first few pages, but if you can get links back to your website, then that may help push the website up. Facebook, I think you've got an old Facebook page here, and then we've got one here and one here. So we've got 2 Facebook pages, and whether one's personal and one's a business page. It's just as long as you're not publishing the same content on both pages, because it reduces the reach. So a tip I've heard recently is if you publish on your business page, then don't publish the same thing for at least 4 hours on your personal page. That way you get maximum reach on both of them. LinkedIn, see you've got here, whether or not LinkedIn is a good channel for what you're doing. I'm not sure. You'll be a better judge of that. But I noticed that your title here is Shoestring Marketing Solutions, although your current position is with your books. And I noticed when I googled shoestring marketing, the site doesn't exist anymore. So it might be worthwhile looking at perhaps updating this, or if you don't use LinkedIn anymore, perhaps just closing it down. And And then we've got Twitter, very nice use of a cover image there. So good stuff here. It's all up to date. So you're doing really good with the social here. The only question I would ask with anybody that's doing social, and that is, does it actually drive your main goals? Because if doing a lot of posting on the social isn't actually driving traffic to a place where you can capture leads and nurture them into prospects and customers, then it's kind of doing an awful lot of work for not a lot of return. And it might be better that if when you're doing some analysis of where your leads and sales are coming from, if you find that they're not being driven through social and that there's not a huge amount to be gained by brand awareness, then it might be worthwhile looking at how you can better use that time to actually push leads and conversions. Looking here on a tool called hrefs, we can see that the page here is your page. It's obviously a page on the Usborne Books. It's ranking on its own for 2 keywords, and I think those 2 keywords are your name and your name and Usborne logos. So maybe there's some work that can be done with the website, but again, as I said at the beginning, unless you've got much control over it, then in terms of putting good stuff on there, then there isn't much that you can do in terms of driving traffic. And you might find that as a strategy for driving traffic and getting posts on, getting content on Google, is that you created a blog, and you could either do that on let's just see if we've got, where does this go? Let's just wait for this to resolve. Which is a really cool domain name. Ideas for that. But anyway, so I don't know whether you're still using this or not. What I can see from straight away is that these free builders aren't really fit for SEO purposes. So I think you could spend an awful long time trying to make this rankable in Google and not have a huge amount of success. But it may not be relevant if you're actually using this this here as your main site that you're promoting. But what I was going to say before I got kind of sidelined with this is that what I was thinking was that on this Usborne page, you don't appear to have anywhere that you could kind of write a blog or create content that might be interesting and inspirational and could be found and could help drive traffic, leads and sales. So I was going to suggest that perhaps you started like a WordPress.com blog or a Blogger blog or something like that, and just created content about kids books and stuff like that. And then of course you find that you've got this site here with this great domain name, bookskidslove, and you could turn this into quite easily into a simple WordPress site. Probably best to self-host it, and then you could create a blog all about books kids love, and that way you can create content about this, which would then bring people into the site who are interested in kids books. It will give you an authoritative voice to talk about this subject, and then you could either capture on that site, you could capture emails and names and addresses, names and emails, which you could then use to market via email marketing. You could also use it to obviously drive traffic to your online shop, or to you, or you'll join your team section of the network, and you could do that on separate pages. So you could have a bookskidslove.co.uk / working from home or whatever, and then you could create an entire page about how great it is to do what you do, and that page then wouldn't have to compete with selling books or being anything about books. It could be completely about working for yourself as an independent Usborne organiser, and you could create content about the benefits of working from home and all that kind of thing. So to wrap it all up, that would be my strategy. I think there probably isn't a great deal that you can do SEO wise to alter this, but you're doing great on social. I think there's an opportunity on Pinterest that you could use to try and drive traffic to your site. You're doing great posting regularly on Twitter and Facebook, so that's good. Again, just check the return on the investment there. Are you actually driving sales and conversions and sales, leads and whatnot? And if that perhaps isn't generating as much of a return as you would like, then I would consider ditching this site if you're not using it and putting a simple WordPress blog on there. It would take a simple WordPress hosted blog, if you've got the hosting already, would probably take about half an hour to set up, and then you could have your own platform where you could publish as much content as you wanted about this. You could do book reviews, you could do video book reviews on a YouTube channel, you could do interviews with people, you could do famous local people's favourite books, you could do all sorts of things. I'm sure that there's loads of ideas in your organisation's forum, and then you could put all that content on your own website, and that then would rank in Google and would then drive traffic to your other site. So that is probably what I would do, and so I hope you found that useful. If I've kind of missed the mark anywhere, then feel free to let me know, and I can kind of look at something a bit more in more specific detail for you. Anyway, I hope you found that useful, and I will catch up with you soon. Many thanks. Bye now.